I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And the people have spoken.
And we will answer.
I wanted to do a song. Sori said, nope, Trivium. I was like, wow, I really want to do this other one. Nope.
Nope.
Trivium.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna be able to do it.
The sin and the sentence, I said. The people have spoken and we must answer.
We are a people-driven organization, ladies and gentlemen. Just for you guys to, you know, we watched the comment section. We saw a couple people making statements about how, oh, they don't do this, they don't do that. We are putting out more content than anyone. Consistently. Mm-hmm. Consistently.
But it's 2 a day.
It's 2 a day. It's only,
and we're only like 6 weeks old or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're 6 weeks old.
You have to give us more time.
Yeah. You know, create a reaction channel and the other thing is we don't just do reactions. We talk to people, we have side conversations, we have this, we shoot updates, we do 2.5-hour shows.
We have kids. We want time with each other.
That's very important.
Not in front of the camera. Can't
believe you just said that.
I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, you didn't mean it like that, but that's going to set us up for like 50 deletable comments. So anyway, long story short, just be patient. We will get to it eventually.
Yeah, like keep reminding us, but don't get upset when you're on like the 3rd, 4th, 6th, 8th time reminding us and we still haven't like done it. Like just keep reminding us because the more times that we see something, that's why the sin and the sentence is the one we're doing right now, is because I saw it so many times. I'm like, nope, we're doing it.
I'm not annoyed in this moment at all. I'm not upset. It's just like it's kind of, you know, I think some of this was we just didn't know how quickly. I mean, we're at 13.6 right now.
We had no idea we were gonna blow up that quickly.
We had no idea. So on the one hand, it's like, oh, you have too many people wanting you to. Oh, what a problem. You know, it's not really a problem. It's awesome. It means that we've got like a very, very engaged audience. At the same time, we didn't start out saying, oh, we're gonna do 2 videos a day. We did that for y'all.
Right. Sometimes I'm like, why did I do that?
We did it for y'all. So, and we love doing it. So, anyway, Trivium, sin in the sentence, the people have spoken. By the way, if this is not your underground pick, at least it should encourage you that, hey, they're doing stuff, right? So, here we go. Sin in the sentence. Let's do it. Can you turn it up?
It's the building.
Sounds scary as hell, huh?
I feel like a spirit and I'm floating through some dark hallways. It's encouraging.
Passing bells calling out my name. I knew I'd never see another day. I couldn't swim against the tides of blame. I knew there was no other way. You better practice your life. You better practice your words. I know that real monsters lie between the light and the shade. Doesn't matter what you say or feel. When honest men become the brains of gene, you think to a lie. So son, you're the sentence. Brothers, yes you are. So say, you're the sentence. You'll see you think to a lie. So son, you're the sentence. Brothers.
I loved it.
What people don't know is Sori is still 16 years old. So you're too far away from this.
I can't. You're a big ass chair. I can't do anything. And now it does that noise that it makes it sound. That's not gas. That's his chair, his leather, rubbing against mine. I don't like it.
So Sori is like 16 years old still. So all the angst. If it's like simple lyrics about you're judging me and misunderstanding, she just eats that shit up. As soon as I saw the lyrics, I was like, this is a Sori classic. She's probably gonna give this shit a 10. All right, what did you think of the song?
I loved it.
First of all, I was so annoyed about whoever did the lyrics on the. Oh, let me finish a sentence.
Well, do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to just sit here blankly until you finish?
I was so annoyed by the person who did this because it says the king you flipped to a lie. That's not what the guy says. He's saying you genuflect to a lie.
It didn't matter to me.
God.
That wasn't the part I was
king
focusing
you
on.
flip. This doesn't even make any freaking sense. The king you flip to a lie. You're an idiot. Idiot dumb butt. Whoever did that. I should say. All right.
Okay, I heard the passing bells calling out my name. I knew I'd never see another day. I couldn't swim against the tides of blame. I knew there was no other way. So people are blaming him for something. I'm not sure if he did it or not. I think he did because he says the sin in the sentence, throw that in the fire. So that means there was a sin that brought on the sentence.
Yeah.
But why are you looking like that?
Well, I wanted to talk about the music.
Oh, we'll talk about it.
But let's start with the lyrics. You wanted to jump right into the lyrics. We can talk about the music in the end. Go ahead, babe.
I liked it all.
Go ahead. I heard the passing bells calling out my name. I knew I'd never see another day. I couldn't swim against the tides of blame. I knew there was no other way. So what are you getting from that? What are you saying, babe?
Well, he's in trouble because of what he did. He's not going to see another day. He's gonna have to pay for what he did. He's being blamed anyway. We don't necessarily know if he did anything. He can't swim against the tides of blame.
Right. This is a lesson I learned from the Iron Maiden thing. Remember when the guy was going to the gallows?
Yes.
And everybody's like, "How do you know, Vin, that he did it?" Oh.
Yeah.
Everybody got so enraged about that whole thing. Okay, well. This is not a true story, and neither is the Iron Maiden story. So, we don't need to defend the guy as if he's a real human being. Okay, but all he's saying, he's not saying that he did it. All he's saying is I couldn't swim against the tides of blame.
Yeah, I know, but the reason why I'm thinking that he did it is because he says the sin in the sentence, penance in the flame. The sin and the sentence.
Penance in the fire.
Fire, yeah. But then he keeps saying the sin in the sentence, so I'm assuming he probably did it.
Why are you saying that he did it?
Because there's the sin and the sentence. Or if he didn't do it, why would he say the sin?
Yeah, but then there's a background singer saying, "To a lie."
True, yeah.
So, hold on for a second. I want to see if it's really penance in the fire.
Yeah, the lyric video was saying you practice your lies, but this one says...
it's penance in the fire. All the other ones are saying penance in the fire.
Okay.
So, I don't think this guy is guilty. I think he's saying, there's no way I'm going to not get blamed for this. I'm not going to swim against the tides of blame. So if you're in a situation where you know people are not going to see it your way, it doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means that you're not going to fight. You're not going to fight it. Mm-hmm. Right? But a lot of people misinterpret a person going, all right, as them saying that they're guilty. I'm not saying that I'm not agreeing with you that I'm guilty. I just know what type of person you are.
Right.
So
I'm not going there with you.
Well, it's a waste of energy, right?
Yeah, and it usually ends up fueling the person.
What do you mean fueling the person?
If you're not guilty and you're being blamed about something, depending on how big this thing is, sometimes if you just say nothing, it lets the thing die out more quickly. But if you keep trying to defend yourself when they think that you're guilty, it doesn't matter what you say. Some people just want to see you guilty.
Yeah. I mean, I think my philosophy on that is that, if you know the truth and God knows the truth, I mean, that's good enough.
Yeah, you always say that.
If you get 30 people who agree with you and you were wrong, what does that mean? It just means that 30 people agree with you.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you're good now that 30 people agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
If 30 people disagree with you and they hate your guts and they believe something about you that's not true, but it's not true, then that doesn't change anything either. Mm-hmm. You're in the same position. You did it or you didn't do it.
Right.
So that's kind of my philosophy on it. But this guy's saying, I knew there was no other way.
Right.
And it gets to the point, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, those loaded questions that are impossible to answer. Like, did you stop beating your wife today?
Right. There's no way to answer that without incriminating yourself.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where if enough people believe something about you, what just happened?
I don't know.
I was about to say something very existentially significant. If enough people believe a certain thing about you, there's nothing that you're gonna. Everything that you say to defend yourself makes you look worse.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You better practice your lines. You better practice your words. I knew that real monsters lie.
Now, what is that? Like, you know how they usually say practice what you preach? He's saying practice your lines. Well, this says lines. The lyric video said lies.
Yeah, the lyric video is all off. It was a disgrace. Lyric video is a disgrace. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys. Practice your lies or lines? What do you think it is?
I think it's lines. Because you know how when, like, the kids get caught and they have a little conference to figure out, okay, what's going to be our story? I think it's that type of thing.
Okay.
Practice your lines, practice your words. I know that real monsters lie between the light and the shade. That's a good line.
Between the truth and a lie?
Well, no, between the light and the shade. You know, like, light, you're a really, really good person. Mm-hmm. And then shade would be darkness, which is the whole Carl Jung thing we've been talking about, which is a shadow self. Mm-hmm. But the real monsters lie in between that. Like, horrible people who are not like very, like, you wouldn't look and say, oh, this is a really, really good person. Mm-hmm. And then a dark person, you'd say, oh, this is a dark person. You know what to expect from them.
Yeah.
It's the people who are gray that are the real monsters.
No, you're right.
Right?
Yeah.
Those people are the real monsters. These are the motherfuckers that, like, during the Nazi Holocaust, that were, you know, one day they were saying, hey, Mr. Higgelbaum, I love you, neighbor. And then the next day, you know, taking part in pogroms and sending them to Bergen-Belsen and Auschwitz and having
confiscating
confiscating all their property and all that shit. Like, just your common, those are the real people that you need to watch out for. Like, we all know there's only like one or two good people in a city where you go, that is just a stand-up good person. Everybody else, like, and then there's the bad people in the city that you know, like, this guy is bad. Mm-hmm. It's just your normal everyday citizen that will turn on you like that if the circumstances are right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, like, those are the monsters. Because you never knew to expect it from them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you say or feel. When honest men become deranged, they'll genuflect, not flip a king or whatever.
What does genuflect mean?
Genuflect means to bow, like in worship. Genuflect.
When honest men become deranged,
they'll genuflect to a lie.
Oh, you're right. I don't think he's guilty.
No, but it's the danger of groupthink. You know, and if I'm mad at this person, everybody needs to be mad at this person.
Right.
So everybody's mad at Trump, so they can't, you know, I'm as a black man and you as a woman are supposed to dislike Trump, you know, as a whole.
Right.
And he's just supposed to be this monad of evil. And so, like, people are not that simple.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so when honest men become deranged, they'll genuflect to a lie. Like, when the whole group, it was like Nazi Germany is a test case, right? Where, like, the lie was, the Jews are the reason we got our asses kicked in World War I, and that's the reason we got embarrassed in the stage of the world. And in order to rebuild the Reichstag as it's supposed to, you know, we need to get rid of these Jews first. And so honest men became deranged, and they genuflected to this lie.
That's crazy. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep. The sin in the sentence, penance in the fire. In the fire?
Well, it's funny, we just got done doing Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
because penance is what you do in purgatory.
Yeah.
To pay off your sins, and it's fire. It's you know, in the medieval ages, all the Catholic mystics were seeing these people in hell.
Yep.
And not hell, purgatory, and it would look very much like hell.
Yep.
Because they were in the fire and they were doing their penance in the fire. Mm-hmm. But here, the background music though is saying to a lie. So like you've got all these people who were innocently like paying off penance, but the whole thing's a lie. They didn't do anything wrong.
So then this could be like the witch trials as well.
Oh, for sure. For sure. The flames grip your throat. But I think...
Wow.
But I think like overall...
Wow.
In our culture right now, everybody has their own set of witch trials.
Yeah, definitely.
Like so, for example, you know, we talked about this earlier where Kanye was you know, burnt at the black stake for not being black enough because he dared to say something positive about Trump. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'm sure the same thing happened with, you know, some poor sap in Mississippi, you know, in some backwoods area of Mississippi who said something nice about Obama. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
We're so tribalized now that, you know, if you say the wrong set of things about the wrong set of people, or if you're not, and that's kind of what fueled the whole witch trials thing, is like, I want to go after this person before I get put as a, you know, so it's like people have no clue how judgmental they are. Mm-hmm. Like I'm gonna take a risk. Even the way that people engage us, they'll say things like, "You guys are pretty cool for Christians."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been said a lot.
Like, if somebody were to say to me, you're pretty smart for a black guy, everybody would jump on him. What the hell is wrong? It's racist shit to say. So how come we feel comfortable saying things like, you're cool for a Christian? Now, I know what that means. What it means is a lot of our constituents, a lot of our people in our village.
We don't take it negatively.
No, I don't take it negatively. Yeah, but I don't take you're smart for a black guy negatively either. Because I understand human nature. That's how it is. So why is one worse than the other? Why is it okay to say you're okay as a Christian, but you're not okay to say as, you know, because both of them are coming from the same place.
Yeah.
It's, you had a bad experience with a couple Christians, and, you know, there's 2.5 billion Christians on the planet. You've had experience with probably about 400, and they've all been negative. So now you've painted the entire Christian group as one way. Mm-hmm. Or the guy from Mississippi, who I'm stereotyping because I'm saying that the racist guy came from Mississippi right now in my analogy. Yep. Has had, you know, there's billions of black people on the planet. He's known probably about 300 in his entire lifetime, and they've all been negative or not intelligent in his mind. So he thinks that, whoa, you're the exception to the black group. So all of us do it, right? Like,
yeah.
So all of us have a set of lines. It says you better practice your lines. That's such a good. I was listening to Tim Kennedy on the Joe Rogan show, and Tim Kennedy's former special forces guy, you know. Used to do UFC for a while, like a man's man. Mm-hmm. And he said something about gun control. And his people went crazy on him. Now, he's a right-wing guy, he's a Republican, you know, but even he was saying, even he was saying, we gotta do something about this people having access to these high-powered weapons and shit. We gotta figure something out. And his own people were coming after him, and they said, you should have said it like this, you know, that you should have practiced your lines, right? Like, you need to practice your lines, you better practice your words.
Well, I think, what was that, now I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Is it Joe Peterson? Who's the guy that you just said that. Who's the guy? Jordan Peterson. I remember, like, you had a video playing of him at a college, and it looked like, when you think of college, you think of, like, free-thinking people, and very open-minded, and they wouldn't let the guy speak. Like, they were putting out loud noises to block out. I'm like, why are we trying to shut down the freedom of speech and the freedom of being able to have your own mind? What was the most free-thinking society thus far? Do you know?
I mean, that's a subjective claim. I mean, Americans are going to say they are. you know, the Swedes are going to say they are. You know what I mean? There's no objective way to measure that. Because
where has there been the least amount of persecution for... Where has freedom of thinking been celebrated rather than tolerated or shut down completely?
Well, here's the thing about free thinking. When people say free thinking, what they mean is they want the freedom to think the way they think without any sort of repercussions.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that they don't want to impose repercussions on other people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I've very rarely found a person who's a legitimate, and I don't come around saying like I'm a complete free thinker, because I'm not. I think there are certain ideas that should not be in the public square for discussion. Like, I don't think relationships between grown men and little boys should be, that we should have an open discussion about that as to whether hey, you know.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I don't think that what happened in the Nazi Holocaust, that there's any, but there are people, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that have that type of mentality. So I don't come and pretend to be a free thinker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't do that because I don't think it's within human nature.
Well, you're saying you don't think it should be open for discussion, as in whether like we should do it or not. You're saying that shouldn't be the discussion,
right?
Or are you saying it shouldn't even be talked? I don't think you're saying it shouldn't be talked about at all, because obviously it's a problem.
No, I don't think that it should be presented as a viable alternative way to live.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, on par with, you know, consenting adults.
I just don't think that thought should not be discussed at all, because I think that if somebody's in that situation, they need to be able to talk to get help.
Of course, but you're assuming that that's bad.
Right.
Even the way you're phrasing it, you're assuming it's negative.
Yeah.
And my point is, I don't have any problems with saying, yeah, this is my thought process, this is my worldview. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But at the same time, there are, what I gave is a very extreme example, okay? Mm-hmm. Most 98% of us are kind of in a certain, you know, we all kind of agree to the social contract.
Yep.
What I'm saying is, this whole thing where you better practice your lines, I'm talking about even within your group. There are, so like with Tim Kennedy, they were telling him, you should have said this, you should have said that. You know, you should have quoted this part of the Second Amendment. And Tim Kennedy's like, are you friggin' serious? I fought, my friends died for this shit. Like, he got blown up, he got shot. I mean, he's special forces. Mm-hmm. He's like, I actually actioned my belief in the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
But he didn't say the right lines.
Wow, okay. So that makes sense.
It's just like us with evangelicals, right? Like, you know, we're supposed to say certain things. He's here, Slayer.
You're not supposed to say fuck.
Right, there are certain lines that you're not supposed to say, which, you know, I'm not particularly, like, sure that that's not right at some level, and, you know, I'm going to get a swear jar here at some point, but... Right. No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about, like, certain positions on things. Like, as soon as you heard behemoth stuff, you're supposed to... There's a certain set of lines that we're supposed to use.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's hard for me to think outside of those lines that I know.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And
they're so ingrained in your thought process.
Yeah, and then you know, you genuflect.
When you have lines, you don't think anymore because you're just going by the script. And so you can't, it makes it so that way you're unable to be a free thinker because you just keep going back to those lines. And what I find is that, you know how you say when you're under duress, you go back to your training?
Yeah.
Like, I find myself go back to my training all the time, and I'm like, no, I want to be a free thinker. Like, I want to think this through, and I want to give my actual thoughts on this thing rather than just thoughts from other people.
Yeah, he said, I saw the dagger eye staring back at me. I knew I'd never have a chance to plead guilty, but in the sight of fallen man, they bury you before you speak. Which is interesting. He's saying you're guilty in the sight of fallen men, right? See, that's why he says I knew I'd never have a chance to plead. So whatever subculture you're in, as soon as you go outside of that, that's it, you're done.
Yep.
And so they bury you before you speak. And so everybody's been in that situation. Mm-hmm. And so now the challenge is, okay, when have you been the dagger eyes that have been staring back? You know, have you ever been like the because I know I have. You know what I mean? But this is rock and roll. In rock and roll, you're the perpetual victim of the hero all the time. Every single time.
Yeah, but when you explain it, you always flip it around. You're always like, hey, have you ever? You always do that, but you're saying that in the lyrics themselves, they don't do it.
Yeah, they never do that. But we've all done that. But being a middle child, you know, I grew up feeling like this. And that's probably why, like, I handle certain things differently than you. You know what I mean? Like, I figured out very early that I just have to know, you know, myself, what's going on. That's why I'm big on self-awareness. Because if you have that awareness about yourself that, you know, I think it's Abraham Lincoln or Spurgeon, some great person said, basically, the things people are mad at me about, they're wrong about, but if they knew other things, then they'd have a better argument. You know what I mean?
If they knew everything, they have more reason to be upset with you.
Yeah, okay, so they're wrong on that particular thing.
It's like with the kids, when, you know, kids lie, right?
Yeah.
So you say to them, well, they're like, I didn't do it, I swear I didn't do it. You're like, well, look, have you ever done anything that you haven't gotten caught for?
You got away with, you know?
And then they're like, well, yeah, all right, well, this is just coming.
Yeah, so, yeah, but, you know, but these are fallen men. Which the term fallen is so interesting to me because... what do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean we're fallen men?
I mean, I know how we would explain that.
But even that terminology is Christian terminology. Especially when you put it in the context of sin.
Yep.
Fallen obviously means that these people who are judging you with the crazy eyes are also deeply in sin themselves because they're fallen.
Right. So, okay, beware those who speak in tongues, for they may call your name. What is he talking about?
What do you think?
The only thing I know about speaking in tongues is, Paul in the Bible talked about that people would be given gifts, and it was like the language that the angels speak, and people often call that like speaking in tongues. And it's like a prayer language that they can speak directly to God. And
yeah, I don't think that's what's going on here though.
Beware of those who speak in tongues,
for they may call your name. I just think
what do you think he means?
I think it's people that sound like you, speak in your language. But he's using a religious phrase because it's like coding to say, okay, those people that are speaking your language and your given subculture, they might be the ones that turn on you and call your name to judge you. Because the next line is, you condemn me.
Because you don't understand me. Wow.
That was your favorite line, huh?
I liked when the chorus, the sin in the sentence, penance in the fire, the sin in the sentence, the flames rip your throat. I really like that. But I did like, yeah, I like you condemn me because you don't understand me, because I feel like that a lot. Like,
you feel like I don't understand you?
No, not you. You understand me so well, but you understand people in general. You do. You're very, very good with that.
I'm the star. But you feel misunderstood.
Well, yeah, because there's so many people that they have this certain narrative in their head and they don't even know the facts, and I think they just want to believe what they want to believe, and then that's it. So, and I feel misunderstood because I feel like
even before all that craziness, didn't you feel misunderstood?
I always felt misunderstood. Yeah, because but again, it all came down to judgment.
You're a middle child too.
Yeah, but I didn't have that experience growing up, I don't think. I don't think I felt like that. I think I felt, you know, I didn't feel like everything was always my fault and I was always getting in trouble. I felt like something's, you know, something.
So you grew up feeling misunderstood.
Misunderstood, yeah. But I didn't feel like what you explained. Mm-hmm.
Did you feel?
No, I didn't feel misunderstood. I felt very understood by my mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
My mom we're almost like the same person.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah, I felt very understood by my mom.
Uh-huh.
But
do you feel understood by Sparky?
Yes, he gets me, and he gets it. Sometimes I just need to. But the thing is, you know, the kids touched it, and there's a lot. I gotta clean it now.
We need to make a rule about that. So, yeah, you condemn me because you don't understand me. I just have a...
So you don't feel like that? You don't ever feel like that?
What?
You condemn me because you don't understand me? You never seem to put any like value in being understood. I'm like, tell me what's going on. I want to understand you.
Yeah, I don't put a lot of value in other people's
understanding of you.
comprehension of, and part of the reason is because I'm trying to understand myself. You know, the whole big self-awareness thing. Like, I'm trying to understand myself. So a lot of my mental energies are devoted to my understanding myself because most people don't even understand themselves. So, like, for example, when he says, "You condemn me because you don't understand me."
You're so cute. I can't stand it sometimes.
Does this guy even understand himself?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like, one of the realest things that I've ever seen in the Bible. What?
Well, no, just a lot of times I don't even know what's going on with me, but I expect you to understand. And
Well, yeah.
a lot of times you understand what's going on with me and I don't.
Yeah.
Like, why am I like this?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's one of the realest moments in the Bible where my hero Paul says, "I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I do what I'm doing."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or he says, "I'm not aware of anything against me, but that doesn't make me innocent."
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
so my thing is, like, people don't even know themselves. They don't know what they're capable of. They don't know what's inside of themselves. They don't know how they would react being put in certain situations.
Yep.
So for them to come to me, it's kind of like, you know, like being a neuroscientist and then, you know, a fifth grader come in and tell you about, you know, what they think neuroscience. What the hell do you know? You're a fifth grader. So, like, for me, it's like, how are you going to tell me about me and my motives and how and I barely understand myself, and I'm doing the homework to try to understand myself, but here you are, some random person. Get out of here, man. Like, please.
Yeah, but your world is full of grays and nuance, and everybody mostly wants to make everything black and white.
Well, all of us live in the same world.
Yes, I know, but you understand the world to be full of nuance.
Yeah.
And gray.
Well, that's, you know, Maynard was talking about that yesterday. It's one of the things that really, like, stuck out to me in that song where he said, "Black and white are all I see in my infancy. Then red and yellow came to be." You know, like,
Oh yeah, I did hear that part.
when you have an underdeveloped mind,
Yeah.
everything is just self-simplistic and silly, and there's good guys and bad guys, and
Yep.
that's it.
My world used to be so easy.
Yeah, it's good guys and bad guys, you know. So, like, everybody on the Republican ticket, they're a good guy. Everybody on the Democrat ticket,
Yep,
bad guy. Fox News, good.
Yep, CNN
CNN
bad.
bad. You know, they got all the people in the crowd laughing right now, but they're just doing it the other way.
Right.
CNN good, Fox bad. It's the same shit. Hello. So yeah, so I'm gonna write something about, like, you know, the value of self-awareness and self-consciousness, and because the term self-conscious, a lot of times it has a negative connotation.
Yes,
But
it does.
it's important because the moment you reach that moment of, this is my philosophy, that moment of, the moment that self-consciousness and God consciousness connect, like, you're set for life. That's my theory. So, then this stuff doesn't touch you, and you become above all of it. You're just above it. It just doesn't affect you. And it sounds arrogant because everybody's kind of living in a certain plane of consciousness. But literally, when you kind of make that connection, it doesn't mean anything. None of this shit means anything. People's
That actually makes
judgments,
sense.
and people's compliments literally have the exact same effect on you. Because you know it already. If you're as bad, if you're as bad as people say that you are, then you already know it.
It's true. You stay level with all that stuff. I get happy when people say nice things about us, but then when they say something mean, I'm like, not always. Sometimes I think it's funny, but then sometimes some of them make me really sad. You know what it is? When they make fun of us together, I'm okay with it. But when they make fun of me just by myself, then I feel a little bit sad.
Well, what about me? They make fun of me too.
I never see those.
Because I delete them.
You do not delete them.
No, I don't. I don't. They all make
Well,
me
no.
laugh.
Sometimes people have said something negative, and I always say something.
Oh, no.
That hasn't happened very often where I've seen it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it makes me laugh. It just depends. It probably depends on my mood. Depends on how much water I need at the time.
Yeah, but this desire for people to be understood, that's like one of the...
That's a big, big thing.
Well, it's a crazy thing even in the Bible. It says, it's in Jeremiah, and he says, "Don't let the rich man boast in his riches, or the strong man in his strength, but that he knows and understands me." So God's saying he wants to be understood, which is a mind-blowing concept.
Yeah.
This desire that all of us have to be understood, he's even
actually-
reflected in the divine nature from a biblical perspective, but everybody wants to be understood.
one of the Psalms, he says, like, you know when I lay down, you know when I rise, you know when I do this, you know when I do that. I love that one. I haven't read it in a long time.
But that's what I mean of self-consciousness and God consciousness.
Yeah.
Because when he's writing that, he's saying, oh, you know me.
Yep.
Oh, I'm known.
Yep. You're conscious of all the details of me.
Because this is like a real human, like, we want to be known so badly. Mm-hmm. And some of it is because for an external person to validate who we are as individuals kind of validates your existence as a person, period. To be understood is to because there's billions of human beings on the planet, you know, everybody has a head, 2 legs, 2 arms, 10 fingers, 10 toes. So what separates you from the next guy?
Yeah.
So when you talk about being understood, it's like, realize that internal part of me that separates me from all the other people with a head, 2 legs, 2 toes. You know what I mean? Like, so the desire to be understood is so important to all of us in human nature.
And I think that part of that is because we don't understand the complexity of our own selves. Like when we were listening to that Fibonacci stuff, and they were saying how there's no 2 fingerprints that are the same. Every person has different fingerprints. And they're not replicatable. They're all completely different. But we just look like you just explained, 2 legs, 2 this, 10 fingers. But the individuality of your 10 fingers is different each person. But we just kind of, you know, we miss all of that because we don't see all of the details of who we are. But then God knows all the details. It says even the hairs of our head are numbered by God, and we don't even know that. But He knows that because each one of us is special to Him.
Yeah, even the hairs in your head are numbered. Mm-hmm. That's a deep line, man.
I know.
You talk about being understood.
Yeah.
It's like something so simple and basic.
Because it's changing. You're always losing hair and growing hair.
That you'll never even begin to know.
Or be thankful for.
And he's saying there's somebody that knows you to that level. Mm-hmm. You know. But that's, you know, wait for the ebook. What do you give the song?
9.5.
9.5?
I really liked it. I really enjoyed it.
It's a solid 8 for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It's a solid 8 for me.
This one's going on my playlist.
I knew it was going on your playlist. I knew it. This song,
So
it's an 8. It's an 8. If when I was 16 in high school, this song would have been like a 9.5, 10 for me. Until I reached my moment of enlightenment. And,
no.
After that, you know, it's like I can appreciate it for what it is. Vin out.
Sori out.
Sparky's gone.